We are a week out from the shop opening, and as usual, you know what it is. Things hit the fan. But for the Black Ink crew, Compton team, anything is possible. Stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
We just got put onto some new music,
Right.
some good vibes,
I
because
feel all like zoned out right now.
yeah, I'm like, I'm with it. I like this. I'm gonna get the name of this after. But what's up, guys? We are back for another episode of Black Ink Crew Compton After Show. This is episode 3. I'm your girl, Drew Jones. We have a very special guest in the house tonight. She is the panel's favorite. I think we have said so far every week. We have Miss Vudu Daul in the building. Hey, boo!
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming in. And as always, I got my right-hand lady, Miss LMarie.
Hey guys.
What is up? How's everyone's week going?
Pretty good so
Pretty
far.
good.
Yeah.
Busy.
Yeah.
Super busy.
I feel that. We have so much to talk about tonight. We got to talk about, you opening up to Ink Drippin' in this episode. Mm-hmm. We find out a little bit of background on Barbie. Mm-hmm. The store finally opens, which is super exciting. And, LaMere and Danny have some tough stuff that they're going through in this episode. So let's hop into it. What was your thought of this episode? You watched it last night, right?
I did, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, how is it watching all of that back?
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely interesting. Just kind of like seeing like actually filming and then seeing like kind of like how it's like cut. So it's like, because I haven't seen any of the other scenes with my other cast members, and so it's like, oh, like I didn't really know that about Barbie and the things that she's going through with her mom. And it was interesting. Like I learned a lot about like my coworkers, and then it was interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm just like, I think every week we're like, we like this one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fresh. And then like we said last week, the fact of like the other shows, we came in and their shops are already established. So it's cool to see it from like the very beginning, and then see how you go through things like permits and things that, if you haven't opened a business before, you may not know certain things. So it was kind of cool to see them just like doing it from the very beginning.
I agree.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about you in this episode, because like I said, you've been a favorite of ours since the jump. I love your story. I love, I always think there's so much power in sharing your story, and you've been very open, which I imagine is tough, but also liberating in some aspect. So you talked to Ink Drippin'. Would you say that you guys is he someone you are easily able to confide into out of the team, or is it just kind of like, it just kind of felt like that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think he and I definitely sort of connected on a spiritual level. You know how, like, sometimes you meet people and there's, like, this instant sort of, like, kinship, and that's just, like, kind of how I felt with him. And, I like to think that I generally get along with a lot of people, but sometimes you just meet that person and you're just like, wow, like, I feel like I can talk to you and not have to worry about being judged or, and it just seemed natural.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what made you want to take him to the that dominatrix
and where is that
situation, right? And I was like, in LA. I was like,
that's in LA?
It is in LA, yeah. I don't know. For me, I like to shock people. I like to do things that are sort of like unexpected, because I just think that, I don't know, just a typical, like, oh, let's go get drinks. Like, sometimes that can be a little bit boring. And, like, he and I have had conversations, and he seemed like he didn't really know that much about, like, the other side of life, when it comes to female empowerment and sexuality. And honestly, like, I was like, I want to do something interesting. I want to do something fun.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see the look on his face. So
it was priceless.
Yeah.
It was priceless, yeah.
It was good. I loved it. I've been creeping on Twitter, trying to read the feedback about the show and whatnot. And people, like, especially after last night's episode, people were kind of like, what's good with Ink Drippin' and Vudu? Is there, like, would you say there's, like, a flirtation there? Or is it just more of just, like, a goofy friendship where it's, like, we're both cute, so we'll occasionally flirt?
I would say that. I mean, like, he and I get along, like, so well, and I just like people in general. So I'm not going to totally spill all the tea, but, there's definitely, some connection there. So
there's room for this to grow throughout this season. Is what you're saying.
Perhaps.
Okay.
Listen, we're still holding on to the Barbie voodoo dream. We're still holding on. After last week, I was like, oh, yes, we're here for it. Sharing your story on national TV obviously can be a lot. How has the reception been?
It's actually been surprisingly positive. One of the biggest reasons why I shared my story in the first place was to help other people, and growing up and then immediately kind of being an exposed error when it comes to life in general, it was very scary and sort of a huge culture shock. And I went through some really rough times, and I think that if I didn't have the perseverance and the desire to help other people, I wouldn't be here today. And I think that with that sort of dream, there definitely comes some risk, and that's something I'm more than willing to take. So yeah, I mean, people have been very positive. They're like, oh, thank you so much for sharing the story. And I know there are plenty of other people who've gone or who have been in similar situations and don't really have an outlet, or they don't really see anyone else making out of it. So it's it's been really good.
Have you had those probably DMs or something where people end up sharing their story with you and kind of this is the first time I've been able to share this story?
Absolutely. I've been getting a lot of DMs from people saying, thank you so much for sharing your story. You're an inspiration. Keep doing you. I love your energy. And honestly, it just makes me so happy because it makes me feel like I'm doing something good, and that's all I really ever wanted to do. And so it's I'm doing something right.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's very early, obviously, in your all series, but something I think that instantly drew us to you was we haven't seen, especially on the Black Ink series, a woman call out behavior like that, especially not accepting the fact that just because you grew up in said neighborhood, you're allowed to act like this. And so last week when you were addressing, you can't, stop with the female, stop with all of that, it was so refreshing because we've been sitting on this panel for seasons upon seasons waiting for someone to,
it's good that it's on the other side, because we'll say it and the people in our comments will drag us for it. You know what I mean? So it's good to have a different perspective where someone on the other side, on the actual show, is you guys cannot be this way. You know what I mean? Especially kind of the New York season. I mean, I'm going to call it out because we talk about it. You know what I mean?
Sure
so, a lot of on the New York season, we have that where these guys, the way that they talk to the women, the way that they treat them, it's unacceptable. And people really come at us for that. And we're like, are you guys serious? So it's good to see you on the show, checking them there so we don't have to do it. But it's good to see.
I mean, I still get a little bit of backlash too, because it comes off as sort of fake feminism, and for me, I don't really look at it like that. It's just respect. We're all human beings. This has nothing to do with male and female, but the issue that I'm seeing right now, especially just in social media, it's just people just need to respect people regardless of their gender. I'm just really tired of the whole male against female, female against female, the whole dynamic. It's just really old.
Yeah, for sure. And we see another dynamic kind of play out with the whole respect thing, and that's Barbie and her mom. In this episode, Barbie's mom sends her flowers, and obviously really upsets her, and we kind of find out that, her mom has had some of her own demons, and that they just don't get along. It's just not a thing. And I love how willing you all are to open up, especially this early on, especially, coming into it with there already being 2 established Black Ink crews. Because for Barbie, I always thought was just she still is very much a boss, but
totally.
I think a lot of time with women, we only get to be boss, or we get to be
right.
Emotional.
You can't show that vulnerable side.
And I love that you all are doing both and you're owning both. And so I loved getting to see Barbie open up, even if it was just for a minute. I loved her story and I felt for her. I could relate to her.
Yeah. Every time I see that, my heart kind of breaks for women who have that strain of a relationship with their mothers. I'm just that's just, it just tears at my heart, because I have a good one with my mom. So, me, I just kind of look at it oh, it's so unfortunate. I just couldn't imagine. But the other thing is, when she first got the flowers, I was, not knowing the situation. I was like, girl, don't feel played. Thinking maybe it was from a guy. Maybe you have an admirer. Girl, don't feel played. Your mama love you. If anybody don't love you, your mama love you. You know what I mean? So then to kind of know that it went the other way, and they have a really bad relationship, and it's just you're pushing too much. And then one of those other things like she kind of brought attention to is the fact of like, you see I'm being a little more successful now. I'm about to be on TV now. Now here you come. Like, I don't have time for those games. And so, like you said, it was good to see her open up about that.
Yeah. Is that something you were nervous about going into, you know, being on a show that's already kind of established? Like, were you worried about like either people popping up or people moving different around you?
I wasn't necessarily worried about it happening. I knew that it was going to happen at some point, and, you know, I'm kind of dealing with that right now. But it is what it is, and I try not to, like, let it bother me too much.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then last week, obviously, it was, like, the big LMarie, Danny situation, and it kind of you know, dripped on into this episode. What was your thoughts on the whole process? Because obviously it's like, you know, he kind of put himself in a situation where, like, the trust is broken. But did you feel like it was, like
a bit much for Danny?
I want to give her some credit. You know, she is pregnant.
Yeah.
So it's like...
I can't imagine.
So it's like, I can imagine, you know, like... And, you know, things can, you know, be, you know, totally... built out of proportion. To be honest, I didn't really see it. I feel like for me, like, I'm just so, like, you know, whatever, like, so free spirited. I don't know. I don't really, I've never experienced that kind of thing, so it's like I don't really know. But I don't know. I just figured she was pregnant, and, you know, hormones.
That's very true. My sister once cried because Chick-fil-A was closed on Sunday.
Yeah.
It's like, there's just not really any reasoning sometimes to pregnancy. So I feel for her. But in this episode, LMarie does kind of take ownership and is like, you know, I understand why you don't trust me because I put you in that situation. And that, like...
That was really mature of him.
Yeah. I was like, oh, you owning up to your mistakes. Okay, let's go. But what was really heartbreaking is obviously they go into the doctors and they find out that there might be some situations with the baby's spine.
Yeah.
That doctor was not very, like, sensitive, in my opinion. I was like...
I don't know. I think most doctors are like that than they are. You know, I think it's a rare number of doctors that actually kind of come to you and have that concern for you as well. But some, like, I guess maybe to help detach themselves from those things. But I feel the same way you do. But then I was like, I was starting to feel like you watch doctors in real life. They're not like the ones on TV. The ones on TV care. Like, real life doctors, it's like, it's so straightforward. Like, this is what it is. And, you know, so.
Now, they haven't had the baby yet, correct?
I was looking on social media, and there were some things where it seemed like she did have the baby already, but then she's still posting her pics of her being pregnant. Like, some people were in the comments like, "Oh, I know the baby's here already." Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not sure.
We're not gonna push you in case like they're trying to keep that private.
Yeah,
I felt for LMarie in this episode just because I imagine things are very. I can't even imagine, you know, hearing that something might be wrong with your baby, and then on top of it, there being, you know, work issues with the source and like your source of income being put into question because things aren't on the right track. You both kind of were like standoffish with the opening, obviously, because of last week's episode. You were like, I just need a break from you guys, and then he was like, I also need a break because y'all aren't getting it together. Did you have full intention of coming back?
Did I what?
Have full intention of coming back when you had walked away?
I wasn't entirely sure. I mean, you know, I had just moved here to LA, and, you know, I immediately was like, okay, like, I need to, you know, get an apprenticeship. I need a tattoo and do all these things. And for me, time is money. And it just seemed like there was just a lot happening at the same time, like with, you know, the shop possibly not being able to open on time. And then it's like, okay, what am I going to tell my clients? And it was just really stressful. And, you know, I don't know if it's because I'm a Libra, but, like, I don't handle stress very well. And so sometimes I need to, like, take a step back and kind of, like, okay, regroup and figure out, like, what I need to do. So I wasn't entirely sure, but, you know, after some thinking, I was like, okay, I need to make a decision.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, he also kind of makes a decision and comes back. But what did you guys think of, he kind of speaks a little crazy about KP, I feel like, in the episode.
Like KP, like, not knowing what he's doing, like, and, like...
It was, which is interesting because the promo videos for you guys, you know, before the season came out, he had said he was smarter than Caesar and Ryan, and I was like, okay. Okay, what is his sign?
I don't know. We gotta.
What is LMare's sign? That's
a
what
good
I want.
question.
I feel like maybe a Taurus.
I could see that.
I could see
right?
that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
We always play this game on every
Or
show where we
Capricorn.
try to
We do.
figure
We
out.
try
So
to
when you
figure
said
out
Libra,
people.
I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah, or Capricorn.
Yeah, he could be a
So we're
Capricorn.
gonna, yeah.
It's possible.
We're gonna find that out at some point. Cause I like when he said that, I was like, oh, you bold.
Let's
Okay.
go find a birthday post.
But he kind of questions everything KP is doing, and I thought the dynamic was very interesting just because I respect LMaire as an entrepreneur. He has a successful ice cream truck and everything. Ice cream truck? Yeah, ice cream truck.
Well, yeah.
But at the same time, I kind of felt like the tattoo shop is different, not more important or less important, but different because they're different avenues. So what did you like? Obviously, we saw the trailer for next week, and it seems like they kind of beef. What was your opinion on the whole hoopla?
I don't know. I was kind of like on LMare's side when it came to the whole tattoo thing. You know, am extremely passionate about the industry. You know, I go to conventions. You know, I have a lot of like tattoo friends, and so like I'm pretty like knowledgeable about the industry and how things work. And you know, I completely understand that. You know, this is KP's first shop, and I think that, you know, he and I sort of have different ideas on how, you know, a shop is ran. And I think even with LMaire, you know, I've worked with LMaire for a while. And so I am kind of like on his side when it comes to that, because like for me, it's like when you're building a business, and I know it's not easy, especially if it's your first one and it's in an area where you don't really know if it's going to last or if it's even going to happen. And I just think it's important, especially when you bring all these people who are going to be working under you, like you got to make sure that things are set in order. And I just kind of felt like things, like the ball was kind of dropped in a lot of areas. And so that's why I was, you know, frustrated, and LMaire was frustrated. And so, but I don't know. At the same time, like I don't have a tattoo shop. So it's like, you know.
Yeah. I think
I'm just an apprentice, so it's like.
I think from LMaire's standpoint, I think especially if you've already done something, like they are a little bit of different avenues, but I mean, LMaire would have to deal with permits because he has a truck, so you have to like, you know where to park it and things like that. So I think when you already kind of do something and you're involved in it and you feel like someone's dropping the ball, it's even more frustrating. I think if you don't really know, it's like you kind of give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt because it's like, I don't really know what to do myself. But I think from LMaire, he felt like, I know how this goes. I know A, B, C, D, E. You know what I mean? Like, so I know how to do this, and you're not even listening to me. You're not taking this in. So, like, forget it, you know? So
yeah, there's a whole order to things, and it's like you can't just say, oh, I'm gonna have a shop, and then, you know, there's a whole order to things.
I definitely saw where he was coming from. I'm very much one of those execution over intent type people.
Yes.
And so like I think his intention was good, but his execution kind of sucked.
Yeah.
But I mean, points were made, you know. But you know, the city kind of redlines the shop. Everyone's freaking out. Barbie comes through with the plug, gets it done because women get things done.
Yep.
Absolutely. Especially Barbie. She's yeah, I love her.
I am like, every time she does, I'm like, I need to just be more. I just need to do more. Every time I watch Barbie, I'm like, yes. But the shop opens and you guys have it looks insanely good. We have to get down there and go check it out because it looks amazing. Yes. You guys, we actually had an AfterBuzzer was on the episode. Miss Convo Peace, shout out to Convo. She was one of the people interviewing KP, so that was a cool little premiere. But yeah, I mean, the shop's open now. It's super exciting. You guys are in business now. How has it been? Because you work in the shop regardless of the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how has that been like working in Compton?
It's been interesting. You know, before the show, I haven't been to Compton. I only have seen like, you know, things on TV from like 20 years ago. And so I didn't really know what to expect. But, you know, it's actually a really nice little town. You know, people are it's very community and like family oriented. And, you know, I like it. I think it's really cute. And I love the fact that we're doing something good for the community as well, like giving people an outlet like to express themselves through art. And and people are just really excited and they're like, oh, this is great, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Now, are fans from the show starting to come to the shop yet? Like, have they found out where the shop is, and do they come?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have a lot of fans that come in and like, you know, book appointments with us because right now it's appointment only. And but that's gonna change soon. So soon it'll be like completely open. But yeah, no, we have a lot of fans that come in and book appointments and stuff.
That's cool.
I love it. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about your tattooing style and everything, because we did get to see you tattoo last week, and I was obsessed. I was telling you before the show. I was looking at your page. How did you get into tattooing? What inspired? What's your inspiration behind tattooing? What's your style?
Yeah. So ever since I was a little kid, I've always loved art, and it was sort of like my outlet to kind of I was struggling with depression, anxiety, and so art was a way for me to release that. And I'm from Seattle, and so there's a lot of people with tattoos, but I never really saw a person who looked like me doing tattoos. I've just never seen it.
Right.
But then at the same time, I loved fashion, and I still do, and so I ended up going to school for fashion design. And I, when I got kicked out, I was still going to school, and then I was a quarter away from graduating, and then, I couldn't get a new loan. I couldn't pay off the rest of the balance, and I was forced to drop out. And so I had no money. I didn't know what I was going to do, and so I ended up buying a machine online, whole tattoo kit, and I tattooed myself, and it kind of just took off from there. And it was a bit of a struggle. I mean, I was not very good when I first started, and I was like, I don't know, I didn't really know what to do, and so I was like, what, I need to find an apprenticeship. And I was still tattooing a little bit, but then I wasn't making any money, so I ended up having to get a job, a corporate job, working at Nordstrom, and I had to put tattooing on hold, and that was really tough. And moving here has definitely allowed me to kind of really focus on it and figure out my style and who I am as an artist. And so I kind of went back to my roots and started doing a lot of Japanese and sort of classic art styles, a sort of a fusion. And so that's pretty much what I'm doing.
That's cool. That part of your story is inspiring as well. So not only you coming from where you came from, but a lot of times people kind of get trapped into the struggle of surviving when you want to be an artist, and we know that as well. Yep. But sometimes you have to put certain things on hold, but some people never pick it back up. And so it's inspiring that you picked it back up, and then look at you now here with us, on TV tattooing. So that's an inspiring story as well. So,
thank you. I appreciate that.
We've seen a lot of the Black Ink Crew franchise. We've seen a lot of people break out into kind of their other passion projects, whether it was Charmaine on the radio, or Four with his music, or even Sky with her shop. Are there other avenues of creativity and that you kind of want to break out into?
Oh, absolutely. I definitely want to go back into get back into fashion design. I really, really enjoy making lingerie. That's actually kind of how I really was okay, actually I'm quite good at this. I did I think I did a couple runway shows. I did one in Vancouver for Vancouver Fashion Week, and then I did a couple in Seattle, and I just really love it. I miss it. And I also really want to get back into doing makeup as well. Maybe have my own brand or something.
I love that.
You are setting yourself up very well, because it's the perfect place for it.
Especially
in LA, you have downtown LA, where you have all of the with fabrics and just things like that, so where you can go and start outsourcing and do your own thing. And then you have FITM, the most fashion school, the most renowned fashion school out here. So girl, do your thing. I'm just sitting here dashing feel like a little proud mama, right?
We're yes, put it out there, we'll buy it,
right?
Another thing that the franchise has really touched on a lot is mental health, especially in the Black community. What are some important things that you do to help continue your self-care to keep your mental health in check?
I have these sort of rituals that I do, and it kind of keeps me grounded, because naturally I'm a very sort of scatterbrained person. I struggle with anxiety and depression, and so it's I'm constantly just trying to mentally multitask, and so it's important for me to one thing that's helped me a lot are baths. There was a time, when I lived in Seattle, I would take 3 baths a day, and I would read, or, I would just sit and meditate. And so I kind of have these sort of rituals that kind of help keep me grounded. And so, I meditate or go for a walk. It's just important to just take out some time, in your day to just really kind of have yourself and listen to your body. It's just, it's important.
I love it. I love it. Did you have? So, we do this segment called Doing the Most. And for new listeners, we've made it for some seasons we have to make it like you're doing too much. But for this season so far, we've been able to keep it positive, which is beautiful. So for new listeners, Doing the Most is our segment where we kind of shine a light on someone who is doing the most in a positive way, whether that is opening up, whether that is, doing something to give back to the community or whatever. Lanisha, did you want to go?
Yes, mine would be for Barbie this week because she was doing the most by she got her business taken care of, even though she was kind of hurting. She was triggered by her mom, but she didn't suppress it. She was talking about it to people. She didn't, kind of become bitchy because she was angry about it. She just kept it pushing, and that's the thing. Like, talk about the problems that you're having. If you're triggered, express it, let it out, so it doesn't manifest in other ways and come out, in a negative way. And she still got her business done, so she's my pick.
Absolutely.
Did you have someone you wanted to shout out this week?
Gosh. You
can even give it to yourself if you want, right?
Okay, I'll do that.
I was gonna say you opened up and we lived for it.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is just such a just interesting experience, and I don't know. I didn't know what to really expect, but I think I handled everything so far pretty well. So I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back for not going crazy.
Yes, I'm definitely gonna co-sign both of those, and I'm also gonna give a shout out to Ink Drippin', because when we first met Ink Drippin', I was like, oh, he's tripped. This is a beautiful light-skinned black man. He's triggering. I don't trust it. The first time we see him, he has like 3 honeys on his arm. But it was cool to see him be a friend to you and be like a real friend and listen and it not be any funny business.
Yeah.
So like, I'm still watching, but like,
right.
I'm gonna give it to you.
Like.
I'm gonna give it to you this week. So let's hop into I guess predictions for next week.
Yeah. Let's get into it.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Ooh. I know, it's so creepy, right? So next week looks like there's gonna be some wildness. I was like, oh, we're just hopping into it. I will say I'm looking forward to you opening up more, because I really appreciate that. I think it's really powerful, and I think we need more positive reality TV, and I feel like you bring it.
Thank you.
And like actually real and raw, Yeah, so that's good to see. For me, I think LMarie getting into it with everyone at the shop. I think he's going to pull a move like and quit temporarily. Yeah. Of course, he's going to come back like this week he walked out, but I think it's going to be like, you know what? I'm washing my hands with this. I'm done. Yeah. So, of course, I think he's going to come back, but
I really hope that I hope he lets people in on what's going on and why he has such a short fuse, because it's a completely valid reason.
Yeah.
And so I'm just hoping that, like, I know y'all are still kind of new to each other and whatnot, but I hope that he takes the leap and opens up to you guys. Obviously, you can't give us a prediction because you were like there. Yeah. You were there for it. But what I will ask, what's something you hope to gain from your all's lives being recorded?
Gosh, that's a good question. I think that we're all doing it for like our own reasons, and we're all so I think like we all just kind of like want to, I guess, give a little bit of ourselves to like our fans and the people who like look at us and say like, oh, I want to do what she's doing, or just, I don't know, just inspire people. And I'm hoping that it all just like works out.
Yeah, I love it. Well, you guys, unfortunately, that is about it for time. We could do this all day. You are more than welcome to come kick it with us whenever you want.
Come back.
Until next time, guys, I am your girl, Drew Jones. You guys can follow me on all of the things at OKDrewJ.
Yes, and let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
Oh, yes. So I have a website and a Instagram account. It's VUDU_DAHL. And my website is www.vududaul.com. And there you can see like my art, my tattoos, and get to know me a little bit more.
Pretty dope. Make sure you guys go follow her, and you guys can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at LMarie TV.
Make sure you guys check us out on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes,
Thumbs
all
up.
that jazz, and check
5
us out on
stars.
social media at AfterBuzz TV. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.